My son told me there wouldn't be a birthday party this year. He said money was tight, that they were just staying in. I believed him. Still, I bought him a gift, wrapped it with shaky hands, and took a cab to his house anyway, just in case. But when I got there and looked through the window, I froze. There was a full-blown party happening. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe, and please tell me and others what's one life lesson everyone should hear before it's too late. Share it in the comments below. Thanks. A fancy one. Champagne, music, a big decorated room. His stepmother was wearing my late husband's pearls, and every single seat at the table was taken. You know why I wasn't invited? Because I used to clean houses. Because I'm not rich. Just his mother. Before I tell you what I did next, let me ask, have you ever been left out by your own family? If so, you'll understand what this felt like. My name's Helen Marsden. I'm 59 years old. And apparently, that makes me the kind of mom who doesn't even get invited to her son's birthday. It all started on a Thursday around lunchtime. I was at work, folding towels in the laundry room of a house I clean every week. Nice couple, always leave snacks and tip in cash. My phone buzzed in my apron pocket, and when I saw it was my son, Zach, I smiled. "Hey sweetheart," I said, wiping my hands. "How's the birthday boy?" There was a pause, long enough to feel something twist in my stomach. "Yeah? No. About that," he said. "We're not doing anything this year. No party, no dinner. We're keeping it low-key." Zach always used that word when he didn't want to explain something. Low-key. "Oh," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Just the quiet one this year." "Yeah," he said quickly. "Money's a little tight. Trina's car needed work. Business has been slow. Just doesn't make sense to throw a party right now. Hope that's okay." "Of course," I said, though it wasn't. I didn't care about a big party, I just wanted to see him. Another pause. "We'll do something next weekend," he said. "I'll call you." "Okay, love you." "Love you too," I said. But the line was already dead. I stood there, holding the phone, while the dryer hummed in the background. Then I went back to folding towels. That night I pulled out the gift I'd been slowly putting together for him. It was a sleek black box with a silver clasp, and inside was a wristwatch, a stainless steel Citizen, with a dark blue face. Nothing flashy, just something nice for work, for interviews, for life. I'd been paying it off at the pawn shop for 2 months. $10 here, 15 there, whenever I could. I always thought, he's going to love this. Now it felt ridiculous. But I still wrapped it, told myself, maybe next weekend. Maybe he really will call. Maybe we'll go get pancakes like we used to. Then Saturday morning, I was drinking instant coffee at my tiny kitchen table when I got a notification. My niece had tagged me in some photos. Just a photo dump from a party. I clicked. And there it was. The first photo hit me like a slap. Zach, standing in front of big silver 35 inches balloons, smiling, holding champagne, a huge banquet table behind him, everyone in cocktail dresses. My stomach dropped. Next photo, him laughing with Trina, her hand on his shoulder. Then, a video, music playing, him giving a speech. "I just want to thank the 2 women who made this night possible. My incredible wife Trina, and the woman who's been like a mother to me. Camille. Camille, his stepmother, my ex-husband's second wife, sitting right beside him, smiling, like she belonged there. And she was wearing Alan's watch. My late husband's watch. The one he wore every Sunday. The one I hadn't seen since he passed. After his death, Camille had boxed everything up, his clothes, his cufflinks, the watch, said she'd send them to me. She never did. I didn't finish my coffee. I just sat there, staring at that screen, replaying the video over and over, until my phone battery was almost dead. It wasn't just that he had a party. It was that they erased me from it completely, like I didn't exist, like I was too embarrassing to invite, because I don't have money, because I take the bus, because I wear second-hand clothes and don't color my hair every 3 weeks like Camille does. I walked to my room and opened the drawer. There it was, the watch I bought him, still resting on the soft black velvet, blue face shining. He could have had it. All he had to do was remember I'm his mom. I needed to see him. I needed him to see me. So I tied the ribbon back on the box, nice and neat, and just stared at it for a long time. That's when I made up my mind. I was going to that party uninvited, unannounced. And no, I wasn't going to scream or cause a scene. I just wanted to look my son in the eye when he opened the gift from me as mother. the one he decided wasn't good enough to be on the guest list. That Sunday, I cleaned. Not because the house was messy, but because it's what I do when my mind won't stop racing. Scrubbing floors, organizing drawers. It gives me a sense of control when everything else feels upside down. But no matter how many corners I cleaned, the silence in the room only grew louder. No call, no message, not even a fake excuse from Zach. That hurt more than I expected. Like someone was sitting on my chest, and I couldn't catch my breath. By 3 in the afternoon, I was sitting on the edge of my bed with the gift on my lap. I ran my fingers over the ribbon like it might tell me what I did wrong. Why was my son ashamed of me? I raised him when his father walked out. I stayed behind. When Alan ran off with Camille, I paid the bills, dried the tears, kept us afloat when everything else sank. And when Alan died, I didn't fight over money or property. I just wanted peace. I wanted Zach to have something even if I didn't. But Camille got it all. She had Alan's ear till the end. And now, she had Zach's too. And me, I got left behind. Again, I didn't own any party dresses anymore. No reason to. But I had one nice outfit, navy blue pantsuit I wore 2 interviews and funerals. I ironed it smooth, found a pair of soft beige flats that wouldn't hurt my back, put on a little makeup just enough not to look tired, and packed the gift into a reusable grocery bag. Not fancy, but it did do. I wasn't showing up to pretend I was someone I wasn't. I came as me. The cab ride was quiet. The driver didn't talk, and I was thankful for that. I just stared out the window, watching Cedar Falls slide by my town, but barely recognizable now. Coffee shops I'd never been to. Wine bars with names I couldn't pronounce. We reached the event hall, and I asked the driver to let me off a block early. I didn't want anyone seeing me get out of a yellow cab. People like Camille noticed that kind of thing. From across the street, I could see it all. The red carpet, 2 men in black vests checking names, a big sign that read Zachary Marston's 35th, an elegant evening to remember. People were laughing, snapping pictures under gold balloons. I saw a woman trip in her heels and Zach catch her elbow, laughing like he didn't have a care in the world. He looked so easy, comfortable, like nothing had ever been hard. That used to be because of me. Now, maybe it was because of her. I held the gift tighter in my hands. I wasn't there to yell. I wasn't there to beg. I just needed to give him the watch. That was it. A simple act, but one that might make him remember who I was. But when I reached the entrance, I couldn't walk through the front doors. My feet slowed. My chest tightened. Instead, I moved toward the side of the building, where tall windows looked into the ballroom. The shrubs and branches gave me enough cover. I pressed one hand to the glass. What I saw stole my breath. A massive chandelier lit up the room like a fairy tale. Tables covered in white cloth, gold-rimmed dishes, glasses already half full. It looked like something from a movie. And there was Zach, laughing, surrounded by people who'd probably never mopped a floor or worried about rent. Waiters in black ties walked around with trays of shrimp and fancy snacks on sticks. A jazz band played softly in the background. This wasn't a simple birthday dinner. This was luxury. Then I saw her, Camille, sitting next to Zach like she was the queen of the family, her hair perfect, her dress deep red, her pearl earrings catching the light. She leaned in close as Zach talked, laughed like they shared every moment of his life. She placed a hand on his arm, like she had a right to, like I had never been part of the story. My stomach turned when I saw what was around her neck. The necklace Alan gave me on our 10th anniversary. I hadn't seen it since his funeral. I looked for Trina next. She was across the room, giggling with a group of women over something on her phone. Then she glanced at Zach and her whole face lit up with pride. Not for me, for Camille. She walked over, handed Camille a drink, kissed her cheek. Camille smiled, glowing like she was the one who raised Zach, like I never existed. And I just stood there, watching my entire life be erased in real time. I didn't walk away from my marriage, work 2 jobs, skip meals, and raise a boy alone so that one day I'd be pushed out like some embarrassing footnote. I didn't save up for that watch so I could be ignored at the door. I didn't do all of it just to be replaced. Then I saw the cake. It was huge, elegant, covered in gold lettering that read, "Happy 35th, Zachary, to a man raised right." I felt the air rush out of me. Raised right. They were rewriting the whole story. And if I didn't walk in right now, no one would ever know I was part of it. That I was there. That I existed. So I didn't think. I didn't give myself time to turn back. I stood tall, smoothed down my blouse, and walked toward the entrance like I belonged there, because I did. I had every right to be there. When I reached the door, the man standing there looked me up and down. His smile wavered just a bit. I wasn't dressed like the other women, no high heels, no satin dress, no fancy clutch. Just my navy pantsuit and flats. Still, I met his eyes, and said clearly, "Helen Marston, mother of the birthday boy." He hesitated for a second, glanced at the list, and then stepped aside. "Go ahead, ma'am." The moment I walked in, the warmth hit me first. The room smelled like perfume and expensive food, filled with soft music and the sound of glasses clinking. My shoes echoed on the marble floor as I stepped into the ballroom. The music didn't stop, but the mood changed. One by one, people started turning to look. Some of the women in sequin dresses gave each other that look, the one that says everything without saying a word. Camille saw me first. Her smile froze. She leaned toward Zach and whispered something. Zach turned. His drink stopped halfway. To his lips, his face didn't light up. He didn't smile. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice low, eyes scanning the room like he hoped no one had noticed me. "I came to drop off your gift," I said, holding the small wrapped box in front of me. "Since I wasn't invited." That's when Trina appeared beside him, slipping her arm around his waist like she could protect him from me. "Helen, this really isn't the time." "It never seems to be," I said, calm and steady. "Funny how that works." I placed the gift on the table in front of Zach. I didn't care about seeing him open it. I didn't want to thank you. I just needed him to know I showed up, that I wasn't going to let them erase me like I was nothing. Camille picked up a glass of champagne and looked anywhere but at me. Trina forced a polite smile, then turned her back like I didn't exist. Zach opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, but nothing came out. So I gave him one last look, then turned and walked away with my head held high. The music played on, but I could feel the tension following me like a second shadow. Let them feel it. Let them all feel what it's like when the person they tried to forget shows up anyway. I was nearly at the exit when someone caught up to me, not a guest, not security. It was Zach. He touched my arm gently, like that would fix anything. "Mom," he said quietly, glancing around. "Please don't make a scene." I turned toward him. "Com. You're worried about a scene now?" I asked, my voice low but sharp. "After what you just did." He looked tired all of a sudden, like the man in the expensive suit was just a costume slipping off. "It's not like that," he said. "We didn't think you'd enjoy this kind of crowd. It's not personal. It's just ... optics. Optics." I nearly laughed. "You mean I don't look rich enough to be your mother anymore?" He shifted uncomfortably. "It's not what you think. Camille and Trina helped plan this. I didn't even know all the details. We just thought maybe you'd feel out of place." I leaned in a little, my voice still soft, but each word landed like a weight. "Out of place, Zachary. I raised you. I scrubbed toilets and worked back-to-back shifts so you could have new cleats for soccer every year. I drove you to school when I couldn't even afford gas. I stayed when your father left us for Camille. I never spoke badly about him. And when he died, I didn't fight over the house or the savings. I let it go for you. And you handed it all to her. Everything that was mine." His face tensed. "That was Dad's decision." "No," I interrupted quietly. "It wasn't. It was yours. You let it happen. And then you buried me along with it." I paused, took a breath. "Don't pretend this was about protecting my feelings. This was about not being embarrassed by me." His eyes dropped. "You know what hurts the most, Zach? I came here thinking maybe I was overreacting. That maybe, just maybe, you'd be happy to see me. But now, I don't even recognize the man in front of me." Something shifted in his face, shock, guilt, maybe even regret, but no words came. I stepped back, steady. "I brought you a gift. That's all I came to do. But now I realize, I brought it for a stranger." I didn't wait for him to answer. I turned and walked past the glowing bar, past the tables full of people who had no idea who I was, through the hallway lined with black and white photos of local elites, none of which would ever include me. And just as I reached the front doors, I heard a voice, not loud, but firm enough to stop me. "Helen, wait." It wasn't Zach, it was Camille. She walked toward me with that perfect, polished grace she always had. The kind that makes people assume she's kind until they find out the truth. Her dress sparkled under the hallway lights, and she held her champagne glass like it was some kind of prize. I think we both know this isn't the place for theatrics, she said, giving me a tight smile. Let's not ruin a perfectly lovely evening. I looked straight at her, studied her perfectly made-up face. You already ruined this evening when you helped take everything Alan meant to leave me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Don't act like you weren't behind it, I said. Camille's smile didn't move. Alan made the choices he thought were best, she said smoothly. Maybe it's time you stop blaming others and just accept it. I reached into my purse and pulled out a folded envelope.com/steady. Then, I'm sure you won't mind this, I said, holding it out to her. She didn't take it, so I gently set it down on the little table beside us. It's a legal petition, I said. Filed last week. I'm formally challenging the terms of Alan's will fraud, forged signatures, witness statements, all of it. Camille's hand tightened around her champagne glass. You can thank your not-so-discreet lawyer, I added. You really should log out of your email when you use the country club computers. Her face finally changed. The confidence cracked just a little. You're bluffing, she said, but there wasn't much weight behind it. I smiled. Am I? Then I leaned in just enough for only her to hear. That business act thinks he owns ... the house you're so fond of. They're all in limbo now. Frozen, pending investigation. Her mouth stayed shut, but her silence said everything. For years, you tried to erase me. Now, you'll have to say my name in court. And just like that, she had no comeback. Her words, always so smooth, had nowhere to go. I stepped back, shoulders light, heart steady. Something inside me started to loosen, like I was finally taking off a heavy coat I'd worn for too long. I wasn't the poor, forgotten ex-wife anymore. I was the problem they didn't see coming. I turned and walked back into the ballroom. The music hadn't changed, but the energy in the room had. You could feel it in the air how whispers travel fast in places like this. People lowered their voices, but they still stared, peeking over champagne flutes like I was some character from a drama they hadn't expected to walk in. I passed the photo booth. A young couple froze mid-pose. I passed the dessert table, where a woman leaned toward a man to whisper behind her hand. He turned and looked straight at me, not with pity, not with kindness, with curiosity, like I was a story too juicy to ignore. This wasn't sympathy. This was fascination. At the head table, Zach sat stiff, jaw clenched. Trina kept smiling, but her eyes kept darting toward the hallway, toward the space where Camille should have been. She wasn't coming back, and they both knew it. Zach whispered something to Trina, whatever it was. It made her jaw tighten. Then he stood up, straightened his jacket, started walking toward me again, but this time, slower, less sure of himself. I met him halfway. You should know, I said calmly. All the accounts linked to the estate, the business, the property, they've been frozen, pending the investigation. I watched the color drain from his face. But don't worry, Zach, I added. If everything's clean, you'll be fine. His voice dropped. Why are you doing this? I looked him in the eye and held it there. Because you let them take everything from me, I said, steady and quiet. And now you think you get to smile for cameras while I fade quietly into the background. No, not this time. I stepped back and gave him room. Room to feel whatever he was going to feel. Shame, anger, confusion. I didn't care. He had to sit in it now. As I turned to go, I caught the eye of a woman I didn't recognize. Probably someone from Trina's side, or maybe Camille's, but she didn't look away. She raised her glass, slightly, not mocking, not sarcastic, just a small, respectful nod, the kind you give someone who walked into fire without flinching. And I realized something. They weren't just whispering about scandal anymore. They were whispering about justice. I didn't stay to watch them unravel. I didn't need to. The damage was done. And the best part, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even raise my voice. Just the truth, dropped into a room full of people who preferred lies dressed in silk. I walked toward the exit with a calm I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't an act. It was real. I was done shrinking. As I passed the buffet table, I saw the cake again. 3 tiers, marble and gold, with Zach's name written in perfect fondant swirls. To a man raised right. And I couldn't help the bitter smile that tugged at my lips. Raised right by who? Camille, the woman who treated my life like a yard sale. Or meet the mother who picked him up from school in a borrowed car and taught him to count with soup cans lined up by the front door. I paused for a second, Some guests were still watching me, trying not to, but they were. I turned just once, to look back, to find Zach. He was standing with Trina now, both stiff, both silent, their faces tight, like a picture held in place by guilt. I gave him a small nod. No drama, no anger, just the truth in one quiet gesture. You did this, not me. Then I walked out, one foot in front of the other like I was stepping off a stage I never asked to be on, and when I got outside, the night air hit my face cool, sharp, clean, and for the first time in a long, long while, it felt like me again, like I'd taken off a costume I didn't even know I was wearing. I left it all behind. For a moment, I just stood there on the sidewalk, letting the last bits of music fade behind me. A valet walked up, expecting a ticket. I shook my head. No car, I said softly. He blinked, a little confused, then walked away. I pulled my jacket tighter around me and started walking. The block was quiet, just the soft hum of traffic in the distance and the muffled sound of a party already losing its shine. I passed a bench and sat down, slipping off my heels. My feet ached. I swapped them for the flats I'd tucked into my bag, letting out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel broken either. I just felt clear. For the first time in a long time, I had said what needed to be said, and nothing terrible happened. The world didn't fall apart. No one dragged me away. No lightning bolts from the sky. They heard me. All of them did. I stood up again, stronger than when I'd walked in. I wasn't just the forgotten mother or the poor ex-wife anymore. I was the woman who walked in uninvited and walked out before anyone had the chance to tell her to leave. And tomorrow, I'd start the part they never saw coming. I didn't go back to the apartment that night, not the one above the laundromat with leaky pipes and paper-thin walls. Instead, I went to a new place, quiet street, third-floor walk-up, a small balcony overlooking the park. I unlocked the door, turned on a lamp, and finally exhaled. This wasn't where I ended up, it was where I started over. A few weeks before Zach's party, I'd gotten a call from Rebecca, my old friend's daughter. She's a paralegal now at a firm that handles contested estates. She'd heard bits of what happened and asked if I'd ever had a second opinion on Alan's will. I hadn't. I'd been too tired, too worn down to fight, but she offered to help quietly, carefully. And the deeper she looked, the more we found odd signatures, last-minute amendments, things that didn't add up. I wasn't imagining it. They really had taken what didn't belong to them. With Rebecca's help and a few sympathetic legal contacts, I filed the case. Not out of revenge, but because I needed to know I wasn't crazy. That I hadn't made it all up. That my pain was real. That I mattered. The same day the estate accounts were frozen, I signed a lease for this new apartment. It's mine. Paid in full with a modest settlement from an old life insurance policy one Camille never knew about. Alan had forgotten to change it. The irony almost made me laugh. I spent the first few days there unpacking in silence. No noise, no one else's mess to clean up, just me, a new kettle, and the quiet creaks of fresh floorboards. I bought a second-hand bookshelf and filled it with novels I'd never had time to finish. I hung one photo on the wall. Zach at 6 years old, missing a front tooth, holding a birthday card he made out of a cereal box. Before things got complicated. Before he learned to measure love with money and guest lists. I didn't tell anyone about this place. Not Rebecca, not Zach, no one. I wanted something that was just mine. Something untouched by shame or disappointment. And as I stood in the kitchen that night, spooning sugar into my tea, I realized something important. I wasn't waiting anymore. Not for apologies, not for closure, not for my son to call. I wasn't the woman stuck in the shadows of other people's decisions anymore. The next morning was slow and soft. I woke without an alarm. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. The only sound was the breeze through the leaves outside my window. I made tea, strong, 1 sugar, a splash of milk. Just how I like it. Then, I sat on the balcony and looked out at the park. No noise, no guilt, no pressure, just stillness, just me. Around 10 a.m., my phone buzzed. I didn't check it right away. I already knew. Eventually, I turned it over and read the message. Zach, Mom, can we talk? No apology, no explanation. Just 4 little words that probably took him half an hour to type. I stared at it for a long while. Then I placed the phone face down on the table. He wasn't reaching out to understand me. He was reaching out to fix his own guilt. But I wasn't the one who broke anything. The messages kept coming. One from Trina, sorry if things got out of hand. Like the whole thing had just been a bad dinner or a forgotten birthday card. Camille, of course, said nothing. She knew better. Or maybe she just didn't care. Still, word spread fast. Rebecca told me the case was getting attention, real attention. You did more than make noise, she said. You made them visible. That meant more to me than she knew. A week later, I threw my own birthday. Nothing fancy. Just me, Rebecca, her mom, and 2 women from the library I'd started chatting with about volunteering. We sat around my kitchen, drank cheap wine, laughed too loud, and made a mess of a carrot cake. No matching outfits, no polished speeches, no fine china. Just real people telling the truth. And for the first time in years, nothing felt like it was missing. I didn't check the door. I didn't wonder who forgot. I knew who was supposed to be there and who wasn't. Later that night, I walked barefoot through my apartment with a second slice of cake on a paper plate. I glanced at that photo of little Zach again, then turned it face down. Not out of anger, just peace. I was done waiting for people to value me on their timeline. I had a life to live. And from now on, I would decide who gets a seat at my table. I would choose who shows up and who doesn't. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say, ... is nothing at all. That's today's story. If it touched you, leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget, share your own life lesson in the comments below.